Hello, everybody. We'll begin shortly. We're just finishing setting up here. Alrighty. I think we'll go ahead and get started here.
Hi, guys.
We just wanted to do a little bit of housekeeping here for you. I wanted to introduce myself. Hi, my name is Cliff.
And I'm Diane.
And this isn't our first rodeo as far as real estate, so we do know how to fulfill your dreams. But there are a few, we are new to the webinars, and this is our very first webinar. So just a couple of things to keep in mind. If we lose connection from our test, usually it can be solved by just refreshing your page, and then the connection, your browser, and then the connection will be reset and you'll be good to go.
Right now, we also want to check, for those of you that are signed on, if you'll just type into the chat box whether you can see us and hear us. Okay, great.
Sounds good. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started and get into the webinar here.
Oh, one more thing, one more housekeeping point. On your email, your confirmation email, there was an action plan attached for you to download. We have that URL for you now that we can put in the chat box. If you didn't have a chance to download it, it will give you something to follow along with and take notes on. Cliff's going to put that in the chat box now. There we go.
That should be on there for you.
All righty. So if we're ready to start, we are excited to be here.
Okay, let's just do a little introduction so you get to know us a little bit better. Between the two of us, we've got a combined over 40 years experience in training, business, and service. Now, just a little bit about Diane. She is intriguing and understanding. And what she's really good at is she unites both facts and emotions to keep you focused and grounded to be able to really zero in on your dream and focus on your goal.
And Cliff is very conscientious and very dedicated. He wants to achieve this highest quality possible, and he focuses on essentials to achieve the best results possible.
So the first thing that we want to go through with this is just a little bit of an introduction to this webinar. After Hurricane Katrina, one of the studies that they did was ask the questions to residents of New Orleans. And the question was, besides love, what do you identify as the most important four-letter word? So what I'd like y'all to do now is just type into the chat box what you guys think, what you feel is the most important four-letter word to you besides love.
Oh, I say hope.
Yeah, and we're getting quite a number of responses. And from their studies, the most important unanimous answer was home. Now, today, what we're going to do is we are going to go through and first discuss, what does a home mean to you? Now, for most of us, we really feel similarities between The Wizard of Oz and Dorothy, because there really is no place like home. And this webinar is designed to help you through and learn what the general steps are as to buying a home. And we also want to touch on the importance of finding a great team to help you go through that emotional time and to make that really important purchase.
So Cliff, why don't we stop right here for a minute? And the audience, please share with us, what would a home mean to you in a few words? I see that it would mean we could have a great backyard, a fenced yard for our pets.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sue.
Yep. Yeah, it is important to have the room that you need to get pets. Also, with your children, to be able to have a safe place to play outside.
Oh, yep, that's a great one. Thank you, Mandy.
So we've got a lot of good responses. So thank you all for your responses. Now, before you start looking for a home, the biggest thing that you want to do is you want to find a good team. Now, these are the team members that you're going to really want to have a great team involved in this process with you. Now, we're going to just briefly touch on the importance of each one of these team members so we can be able to move on and get further on into our webinar here.
And in your action book, there's a place for you to write down what your team can do for you as we go through each of these things.
Now, as far as the realtor is one of the most important team members on this team. And one of the biggest reasons is because the realtor is the one that makes sure the communication lines are open and fluid between everybody on the team, as well as yourself and whatever family members that you have involved with this purchase. So the realtor is by far the one who does the step-by-step communication with you, your mortgage lender, the title agent. They're the ones that make sure all the communication is done, all the paperwork is being forwarded properly, and everybody is on the same page and knows what's going on and is on track. Now, some of the other things that a realtor does is, most people have a lot of bad experiences with realtors. However, a great realtor will follow your lead. One of the fiduciary duties that we have as realtors to you is to obey what you're telling us to do. So as long as
as long as your instructions are lawful, we will follow what you tell us to do.
Yep. And that's one of the things that a really great realtor does, is they're not trying to instantly get you into a sale. They're trying to follow what you want to do and take the lead from you, which goes into one of the next things, is holds you and your interests above everything else. A great realtor makes sure that they understand what you're looking for, what you want out of a home, what your needs are, and keeps you on track and focused on those needs and guides you in a direction that helps you attain those wants and needs without any consideration to what they want.
Let me say here too, if you find, and this goes for any of your team members, if you find that you find a team member that is trying to get you to purchase or make one transaction, they're trying to make a sale. A true great team member will be interested in a long-term relationship. They want to know you. They want to build that relationship and really understand what it is that you want.
Yep. And another real big thing that having a realtor for you is they can negotiate for you and help you throughout this entire process while keeping your best interests at heart, fighting for the best terms possible for you, and also keeping everything that you tell them confidential unless it's necessary for the purchase of that property. So for example, if you are really stressed and you have to find a home right now, well, that's one thing that if you don't have a realtor, during this time, you will more than likely tell the selling agent just because it's a stressful time and it comes out. However, a realtor will make sure that that's kept hidden from the selling agent, and that
your best interests
and your best interests are protected. One example that we have is one of the reasons why you'd want a realtor as an example is, bottom line, yes, you can purchase a home on your own. However, when just say, for example, when you meet an agent at an open house, that agent is the seller's agent. So they're working for the seller of that property, and they're trying to get the best interest of the seller to shine through on the contract.
And one thing that I think many people don't understand when they go visit open houses, because, I think a lot of people think, well, I can just go see open houses. I don't need a realtor to do that, is that the seller's agent that is there, when you as a buyer share information with them, you've now given that seller's agent information to help the seller. If you decided to buy that home, you would be at a disadvantage.
Right. Mm-hmm. And, one of the other big benefits for getting a realtor of your own is, bottom line, as a general rule, the buyer's agent is paid by the seller with a sharing of the commission with the seller's agent.
Yeah. So that money does not come out of your pocket. It is being paid for you.
So it only makes sense to have someone else pay for an extra set of eyes to help find things. For example, if you have a home-based business and there's a restrictive covenant on that property for community issues, that you can't have home-based businesses.
Yeah. So that's our pitch for realtors. And I promise this isn't a webinar for sales. We simply want to share information and stress to you how important each of the team members are in helping you best fulfill your needs.
Yep. And, for the mortgage lender, the key elements of a great mortgage lender is, bottom line, the same as all of the team members. They hold your situation and your needs above everything else. So for a mortgage lender, they're going to keep you on track and help you and advise you on the mortgage products that are available to you that helps you best stay within your affordability goals. One example is the housing bubble. A really great mortgage lender will try and steer you away from some of those loans because they know over the life of the loan, you're not going to be able to afford it. So they're looking out for your best interests. Now, the title company and the closing agent, usually it's the same company that does both of those. But the big thing for these guys is with the title, they verify the transferability of the title into your name. So you're able to get possession of the title and get possession legally of the home without anything that you need to worry about behind it. That is the goal of a great title agent. And the closing agent is the one that helps walk you through all of the paperwork that you have to sign during closing. Now, the next two, a lot of people get these kind of confused between the insurance agent and the home warranty agent. Now, the insurance agent is extremely important because you want to protect your investment. For example,
that's your homeowner's insurance.
That's your homeowner's insurance.
If you're a renter right now, you may have renter's insurance that protects your belongings inside of your dwelling. Your homeowner's insurance will protect the dwelling as well.
Right. It's primarily for protecting the dwelling itself. Now, the warranty company, they're a little bit different because they provide protection for the core mechanicals of the home. So, for example, you can go into the home, and when your inspector looks at it, the furnace was working just fine, but 6 months down the road, the furnace breaks. That's a really sizable repair cost to get that either fixed or replaced. Now, a home warranty will help protect you and reduce your risk for something like that happening.
Reduce the cost of replacement or repair.
Yep.
Now, all warranty plans are different, and you have to be careful about exactly what it is that it's covering. And if there's something that doesn't cover that you want it to, they may have an additional add-on that you can choose. But for us, for our first home, when we bought our first home, our range went out, 4 months after we bought it? And fortunately, the seller had bought the first year warranty for us, and we were able to have that fixed for, I think, the $75 that it cost to the deposit to come out and fix it.
Yep. So even if we would have had to pay for that ourselves, it paid for itself within the first year.
Yeah.
And the home inspector is important because you want to know all of the critical issues, the superficial issues, and the maintenance issues that are going on with the home. Now, a great inspector will tell you the difference between the two and let you know that this is a critical issue. The furnace is working now, but there's a lot wrong with it, and it's going to die in a month or so. But they're also there to help you with the maintenance issues. For example, the carpet's showing a lot of wear. Yes, it's technically a hazard because you could trip and fall on it, but it's just a maintenance issue because sometime you want to think about replacing the carpet.
When we bought our home, currently, our inspector looked at our shower tile and said, this is going to need to be regrouted soon. So it wasn't a major issue. And we just thankfully knew that we needed to plan ahead of time for some money to repair that after we bought the home.
Mm-hmm.
Now, also, I want to point out that all of these team members, except for the last one, your realtor, a great realtor, should have some resources for you as well if you don't know anyone. They work with these people, and they should keep a list of great team members that can help you.
Mm-hmm. And finally, your family. You always want to include your family in a home purchase time. They're a great resource for you. They're a great support system for you, and they can provide a lot of assistance for you. For example, if you might need a temporary place to stay for a week while you're closing on your new home, they're a great resource for you.
This is one of the biggest purchases that you're going to make, and it can be very scary. There's ups and downs. You're going to be excited, and then you might not get the home that you want, and you might be a little down. Your family will be a great source of support for you, help keep you grounded.
Yep. And the next is just starting through the steps of buying a home. Now, the first is we want to walk you through some of the fears about buying your home. So what we want you to do right now is type into the chat some of the fears that you guys have about buying a home.
Okay, we see the cost. So the cost, does that mean that you're wondering about whether you can afford a loan?
Yep. Someone else said affordability, being able to qualify for a loan.
Okay.
Um,
And that's something that your great mortgage lender team member can help with.
mm-hmm. Okay, now here are the most common fears. Now, a lot of these fears, you'd be surprised as to how you can get around those fears. Like, for example, with not being able to afford a home, a great mortgage lender will have access to a lot of different programs that you might be able to qualify for.
Cliff and I, we weren't sure when we bought our home whether we could afford it. And one day he said, I wonder if we can qualify. And I said, well, let's find a mortgage lender and see. And by gosh, we were able to get a home, and we didn't think we would be able to qualify at the time. So if you're a veteran, there are different veteran programs, loans that
mm-hmm.
would be very helpful.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And there are a whole variety of different programs, national programs, state programs, and even local municipality programs to help. So don't discount that you're not going to be able to get into a home. Just go through and don't know
until you ask.
Yep, don't know until you ask. But again, a great mortgage agent will be able to help you through that and be able to keep you on track. And one of the biggest responses that I've had so far is they should wait until the market gets better. And, to be honest with you, the only wrong time to buy is when it's wrong for you.
Absolutely.
So if it's the right time for you, it's the right time.
Yep. So, yep, absolutely.
So, and with those steps, there's basically 8 steps to purchasing a home. Now, we'll go through these steps in a little bit more detail on future slides, so I won't stay on this one too long. The first one is deciding to buy. Now, we've prepared a little chart for you to show you exactly what you can what your affordability is and what your monthly amounts would be between renting and purchasing. Now we've got some assumptions written up there, and I'll let you go ahead and look at those. But as you can see from the chart below, I really want to stress that the square footage that you're going to be able to get for the same payment a month is a lot more in a home than it is in an apartment. And the adjusted payment after you take out the tax savings, the purchasing of a home is actually a little bit less than renting.
Often it is. We actually we increased by about 600 square feet and ended up paying about $600 less a month for our home than we were renting.
Mm-hmm.
We were amazed.
Yep. So financially, it does make sense to purchase your own home. However, it does not mean that now is the right time for you to purchase your home.
Yeah.
You need to make sure that you talk with your loved ones, your family members, your mortgage agent,
and a realtor,
and make sure that this is the right time for you.
Yeah.
Because if it's not the right time for you, it doesn't matter what charts we throw up and what figures we throw up. You should not do it because it is not the right time for you.
And remember, your great team members, your realtor and your mortgage lender especially, will not try and say, oh yes, this is the right time right now. They will be invested in the long term. If it's going to be another 6 months, another year, another 18 months, they will be invested in staying in touch and helping you meet your goals.
Right. So the next step is hiring a realtor. Now, what we'd like to do is we'd like to ask you to type into the chat what you think a realtor does and what a realtor can do for you. Okay, well, someone says, let me in the homes so I can look at them. Yep, that's definitely one of the things that a realtor can do for you. Yep, show homes. Preview homes. Yep, so it looks like a big majority of the consensus is just a realtor shows you around the homes and lets you view them. However, there's a lot of things that a realtor does that you don't even see. That's a lot behind the scenes. Now, here are the bare basics that a realtor performs. Not only showing you the homes, yes, we do that. However, part of a great realtor's responsibility to you is to help guide you to the homes that fit your criteria within your wants and needs. Most of the things that we'll do for you is behind the scenes, for example, negotiating on your behalf. Coordinating between all of the different team members to make sure everything's on track. And one of the biggest things that a realtor does for you is solves any problems that arise. Now, I know this is a real fun time and an exciting time. However, I don't know of any home purchase that hasn't had some kind of problem come up. There's always going to be a problem, but a great realtor is there to help solve it.
There's going to be hiccups. There's going to be hiccups along the way.
There's going to be hiccups along the way. And for the vast majority of those hiccups, you might not even know that the hiccup was there.
Yeah. You know, one of the other things that realtors do as well as on the analyze is help look at the home to see how it's priced with all of the other homes that are available, that are selling, which a lot of that you can do yourself when you compare. But when we actually take a look, we do a little bit more analyzing to see if you're getting your money's worth.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we do. And we can also use those analyses as a negotiation tool to be able to help you get the best price for the home that you can.
Yep.
Now, the next step is, for most people, the scariest: securing financing. Now, the one thing that I really want to stress is because before I went into real estate, I thought a pre-approval and a pre-qualification was the same thing. But I really want to stress that they're not. A pre-approval is the better of the two. It lasts for approximately 90 days. That length of time will vary depending on the lender. But a pre-approval is that lender's promise that, yes, this is how much money that we are prepared to loan you.
So a great thing is, if you're further out and you want to start looking at homes and see how much you can qualify for, a lender can give you a pre-qualification letter. And they just look at the bare basics of your credit and say, this is what we estimate you can qualify for. When you get down to the line and it's serious and you're ready to make an offer, that's when you need your pre-approval letter.
Yes. So the big difference is a pre-qualified is the mortgage agent's best guess as to what you can qualify for. And a pre-approval is a mortgage lender's promise that this is what they will lend you. So there's a little bit of a difference there. With the financing, though, we do want to stress the effects of interest, however, on your purchase. Now, this next slide shows you the different amount of home that you can purchase with different interest rates. Now, this is staying with a 10% down payment and a principal and interest payment of $1,100 per month.
So you'll notice here that the let's see, what are we? The 3.3% and the 4.5%. We've been kind of in that range right now. And look at the difference in the amount of home that you can buy at those different interest rates.
Yep. And it wasn't so long ago that it was actually at the right end of that chart at 6.5%.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see there's a huge difference between the 3.3 and the 6.5%. So yes, the effects of interest really play a huge role as to what amount of a loan you can qualify for.
Yeah.
Now, the next step in the home process is actually going out and finding your home. Now, this is usually the most fun time for people because they get to go out and they get to look at homes and preview them and have good old time. But this is one of the sections where your realtor really goes to work for you. They will really take a look at your lifestyle, your wants, your needs. They'll really hone you in on what do you want your home to have? How much space do you need? Do you have to be in a certain school district? What kind of neighborhood are you looking for?
These are all questions for you to ask yourself. When we first started looking, we really hadn't taken a look at this, and we looked at a lot of houses as we tried to define this for ourselves. We didn't have a great realtor helping us do this. So, here are some of the things that you'll want to start looking at.
Yep. Now, and also a great realtor will help you with the last one. Which ones do you really need? Like, for example, I know a lot of people who keep saying, I will never buy a split level. I want everything on a single floor and that's it, period. Well, as it turns out, the only homes that they have purchased are split levels. And that's because the split level that they've purchased is not objectionable enough. It's not important enough to them to not get some of the other amenities that are within the place itself.
Yep. Nope. I agree.
Okay. Now, once you found a home, one of the things that obviously what you need to do is you need to make an offer. You need to let the seller know that you're interested.
And depending on what kind of market you're in your area, right now, we've been in a seller's market. So when a buyer finds a house that they want, they need to move quick.
Yep. And that's really apparent with the inventory levels right now. Mm-hmm. Right now, on average, here in our area, homes are typically selling between 30 and 45 days. So that's not a lot of time to be on the market. So they're really moving fast.
Yeah. But that depends on, at any time that could change, and we could be in a buyer's market and you could have all kinds of homes to choose from.
That's right. But again, that's in a seller's market, that's another benefit to having a realtor work for you, because we have a network of other agents that we know and we've worked with in the past and that we keep in contact with. So there are times where agents have been able to sell a property before it even gets listed on the market, just because another agent knows and has a client that's looking for something that meets that criteria of that home.
So when we make an offer, there's three main components to making an offer. So we have the price, the terms, and the contingencies.
Yeah, and a contingency is something that it's a little escape clause that you want to put in there. For example, one of the great escape clauses that you always want to put in there is the inspection. You want to make sure that if the inspector comes to that home and we didn't see it on our initial walkthrough, but the inspector found mold in the attic. Well, you really want to be able to
terminate your offer if you
choose to, with that kind of news from the inspector of finding mold in the attic.
Yeah. And the other contingency we always put in is your financing contingency. So if for some reason something comes up that the financing doesn't go through, then you are able to get out of being held to that offer. You have to understand that when you make an offer and submit a purchase agreement, you have then signed a contract that says, I will buy this home.
Yep. So the contingencies are there to help protect you from any unforeseen issues that come up. So you can say, well, yeah, I know I signed a contract to buy the home, but I can really get out of it.
Got to be careful about those contingencies.
Yep.
Make sure we use them in the right way.
That's true. Now, with us bringing up the inspector, that kind of really leads into the next slide and the next section of doing your due diligence. Because one of the key aspects of your due diligence is to have an inspector go through and look at the property and see if anything significant is found on the property.
There are times that potential buyers choose not to have an inspector go through. We really recommend that you have someone go through the home, a qualified inspector go through the home and inspect it for you. This is a large purchase you're making.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make sure that it's in the best condition that it can be.
And you also want to make sure that, that you know what you're getting into.
The big stuff. Yeah.
So when you're going into your new home after purchasing it, you're confident that you know what needs to be done with the home. There are a lot of great homes out there that the inspector says, well, you have paint chipping. Well, that's a great inspector will tell you that's only a cosmetic issue. It doesn't have to be done now. $3 worth of a can of paint and poof, it's fixed. But there's a lot of other things that you really want to take a look at, and a great inspector will give you the differences between the cosmetic or the superficial or the real big stuff. Like, for example, a hole in the roof.
Mm-hmm. That would be bad.
Yep. Now, just as an example, we have on here cracks and crumbling in the foundation. Now, just as an example, when we bought our home here in Minnesota, I think we had a really good inspector come up.
Absolutely.
And he took us on a tour of what he found, and he showed us some of the cracks in the foundation. But he told us, now I understand I just have to point these out to you because it's my job as an inspector to show you these cracks in the foundation. However, I do also want to say that this is Minnesota. If a foundation did not have a crack in it, I'd be wondering what was wrong. Because there's such an extreme temperature difference here between the summer and our -30 winters. He would be really, what he found and what he showed us was something that was to be expected.
Right.
So it wasn't really something to worry about.
The magnitude of the cracks weren't so big that it pointed to a problem in the foundation.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, and after you've done all of your due diligence and you're looking at, and you're really getting down to some of the cost considerations of the purchase now. Now, there's a lot of different cost considerations that really surprise a lot of people. For example, one of the things that surprised us with our first home purchase was the earnest money. Our agent turned to us and said, okay, now give us an earnest money check. And our jaws just dropped and hit the floor. We're like, what are you talking about?
Earnest money? We want to put an offer in on this house. What's earnest money?
Yep.
So things to plan for ahead, cost considerations.
Yep. You really want to make sure you budget for these things. Typically the earnest money is 1% to 2%.
Of your offer price.
Yep, of your offer price. Most of the things like the inspection costs, the home warranty, the home insurance, a lot of those vary greatly with the company and the type of coverage that you have purchased.
Yeah. And home warranty, again, can be a negotiating tool with the seller.
Yep.
And down payment, that all depends too on what type of financing you're getting, and if you have, if your realtor or your mortgage agent has also helped you find down payment assistance that you may qualify for.
Yep, and there are a lot of programs out there that you don't have to do any down payments. For example, with 30% disabled veterans, you don't need to put any down payment down on the property because the VA takes care of that for you.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of programs out there that your mortgage agent will help walk you through and help you find the best options available that you can qualify for. Now, finally, after we've done all of that, now what we want to do is we want to close on the property.
Yay! This is time to party. We're getting close.
Yep, you are almost there. So the pre-closing, you want to do a couple of things during pre-closing. One of the big things that I want to stress that most people kind of opt out of is doing the final walkthrough of the home. You always, always, always want to do a final walkthrough of the home to make sure that nothing's changed in the home since when you saw it last.
We don't want any surprises.
Nope.
Want to make sure that everything that was there that's supposed to go with the house is still there. Everything's still in good condition, that it's still standing. It hasn't burned to the ground.
Yep. That everything that's there is still there. We have had horror stories in the past where we've gone through with a final walkthrough and all the appliances that were supposed to have stayed are gone. All the cabinets are gone. Basically, the house was gutted. So we want to know those things before we go to the closing table.
There's still time to still time to get out or
still
negotiate
time.
Or make sure you get what you're paying for.
Yep. Now this is also, at least as far as I'm concerned, the time to have your homeowner's insurance as well.
Oh yes, your mortgage lender may want to have you have it before this time, actually, because it may be required by the underwriters that you have your policy in place.
Right. But even for those who, just to illustrate this a little bit, yes, we in our office, we have had a cash buyer who purchased a property and had every intention of getting their homeowner's insurance in place. And he went to the closing table, signed all of the documents, and was going to sign his homeowner's insurance the day after. Well, that night there was a fire and his home burned down. And there's nothing he could do because he had no insurance. And it was now
his home, so the seller's insurance didn't cover it anymore.
Yep.
He just had no home and a great big mortgage. So, homeowner's insurance, very important.
Yep. And
this is when we go visit the title and closing agents.
Yes.
And prepare for carpal tunnel.
Yes, you'll have a mountain of paperwork to sign.
Yeah.
You'll kind of feel snowblind afterwards. But that's also where the great title agent and the closing agent come in as part of your team.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they need to, they will splash a little bit of water on your face to make sure you're still focused on what they're telling you and make sure you understand everything that you're signing.
Yep.
They'll walk you through it step by step.
And after all the paper signing, they're going to hand you the keys and you have a new home.
And they'll say, congratulations, this is now your home. Which, with the home, and now that it's yours, you always want to protect it. So there are a couple of key home habits, and you always want to keep an eye on the home. One of the things that we feel is a very good habit to get into is every 3 to 5 years, have a home inspector come out and do another inspection of your home.
Yep.
That way you're always kept current on the condition of your home. You always have a roadmap of what needs to be fixed now, next month, next year. and you can always budget for those repairs, and you can always keep your home in good working order.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I know some of us are not with us here in Minnesota. So one of the last things that we want to do is we want to let you know that when you work with us, we're part of an international organization.
Keller Williams is an international organization. And
even if you don't live in Minnesota, you can contact us and we can help find a great realtor in where you need a realtor to be.
yeah, absolutely. So for those of you that have stayed to the end, we have a free gift for you. And Cliff is going to put the download link in the chat. And this is a timeline that will help you get ready and prepare for the steps that you need to do in a year time frame that you're ready. There we go. So if you want to go ahead and grab that from the chat, we'd like to share this free gift with you.
Yep.
If any of you have any other questions or comments, we would love your comments and your feedback. As we said, this isn't our first real estate rodeo, but it is our first webinar. And any questions, we would be happy to help you answer them. Please email us. If you need references or referrals for any of the great team members, we have referrals as well that we would love to share.
Yep. And don't forget with what the last slide is saying, if you want to view this webinar again because you registered, this webinar will be available to you at any time. So all you need to do is you need to go to our website, dreamsfulfilledagents.com. And on the very front homepage, there's a banner, and you'll want to click on the button that says Webinar Archive on that banner. And the replay code for this webinar is OneHome. So when you get into that webinar, just type in OneHome, and the video, the supplemental materials will all be available to you. So it's available at any time for you.
Anybody have any last questions before we sign off? Again, if you do have any questions, please feel free to email us. Visit our website. We would love to have you as guests.
Yep. And we look forward to hearing from you in the future.
Absolutely.
And keep checking our website for future webinars that we're going to be having.
Yep.
This is the first webinar in the Keys to Your Dream webinar series. And we're going to try to go through new topics. Please send us an email if there's a topic that you want us to cover. We'll be more than happy to see if we can work that into one of our future webinars. So again, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, guys. It's a beautiful day. We hope you have a wonderful evening. Bye now.